Can't tell you how much I sympathise with the way everybody has had to endure this unbelievably testing and challenging time. This is also a time of change for my family.
This, of course, came as a huge shock. And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family.
A single choice can change the crown, rewrite the past, and reshape the very story of the monarchy. But what price will it demand? Inside the charged halls of Balmoral, King Charles III left his entire family in silent disbelief. What began as an ordinary royal announcement soon turned into a blade aimed straight at the heart of the woman who had stood beside him through every storm, Queen Camilla. In that moment, Catherine was no longer just the Princess of Wales. She was declared the new queen, the one trusted with both the symbol and the stewardship of the royal future. The grand estates, the royal charities, the lands tied to memory and authority, everything that once gave Camilla belonging now slipped quietly from her grasp into Catherine's hands. William sat frozen, his silence heavy. Kate's breath caught under the weight of a million eyes. And Camilla, her tears fell not only for what she had lost, but for the truth now laid bare. She had been pushed to the edge of history. Yet behind those quiet tears, another thought began to form, cold, calm, and smouldering like a hidden ember of vengeance. Would Camilla surrender to despair, or turn her sorrow into a weapon that could decide her fate once and for all? As the golden light of a Scottish summer faded over Balmoral's rolling hills, the year 2025 opened with whispers about King Charles's fragile health after his long fight with cancer. The castle now stood as the stage for a royal tragedy waiting to unfold. Inside the oak-panelled dining hall, the soft sound of silver spoons against porcelain created an illusion of peace, a perfect royal family. But beneath that polished calm lay cracks ready to explode. At the head of the table sat King Charles, pale and weary, his eyes carrying the weight of years and mistakes. Beside him, Queen Camilla smiled politely, hiding her unease about her place in history. Across from them sat Prince William and Princess Kate, hands intertwined, the image of unity the nation adored. Kate had become the country's emblem of empathy and endurance, especially after her quiet battles with health. Nearby, Prince Andrew sat with downcast eyes, bitterness buried behind his calm face, resentment born from disgrace and scandal that refused to fade. Dinner ended in uneasy silence. The conversation drifted from weather to charity, but everyone could sense the tension thickening in the air. Finally, Charles raised a hand. "I have an important announcement," he said softly. "William, Catherine, Camilla, Andrew, please stay." Two men entered the room, the king's lawyer and the Lord Privy Seal, carrying a deep green folder. They placed it gently on the table, as if it were a bomb waiting to go off. Charles's voice trembled, yet held royal firmness. "I have reflected long and hard. The monarchy needs a woman who can unite, not divide, someone who can heal the wounds of the past. My mistakes have scarred this nation. I wish to make peace." He looked directly at Kate. "From this day forward, in every public appearance and communication, Catherine shall be introduced as the new queen, not by law, but symbolically as the leading woman of the royal household when I am gone. She will embody unity and hope." The words fell like thunder in a clear sky. Kate's face turned pale. She clutched William's hand, her heart racing. "New queen? I am not worthy, father," she whispered, eyes filling with tears. William stared at his father, speechless, trying to understand the reason behind this earth-shaking decision. But Charles wasn't finished. He opened the folder, his tone sharpening. "My personal will is being revised as we speak. My private holdings, art, estates, and foundations all will pass to Catherine's care. These trusts will serve the crown during William's reign, ensuring its continuity." Then his gaze turned to Camilla. His voice softened. "Camilla, you will no longer be the principal beneficiary. You will keep your private income and property enough for comfort, but you will no longer influence the royal legacy." Silence gripped the room. Only the fireplace crackled, echoing like an anxious heartbeat. Camilla's face froze. Then, trembling, she rose abruptly. "Charles, what are you saying?" she cried. "After everything, after all I've endured for you, you do this?" Tears streamed down her face as she stormed out. Her her footsteps heavy like history retreating down a long hall. Andrew remained still, but in his eyes flickered something dark, resentment and opportunity. Charles continued, his tone now one of sorrow and duty. Catherine is the one the people trust. She will carry the weight of this crown with compassion and strength. This is not to erase the past, but to protect the future. The door slammed behind Camilla. Kate's heart tightened. The title new queen felt less like honor and more like a storm on the horizon. William pulled her close. "We'll face this together, my love," he whispered. "But what is father doing?" Down the corridor, Camilla wiped her tears. Her eyes no longer wept, they burned with quiet rage. A plan began to form, cold, dangerous, and born of betrayal. That night, as the wind screamed through the pines of Balmoral, Camilla wandered the rose garden under the moonlight. The red blooms glowed like secrets. Her tears turned to fury. "How dare he?" she whispered. "After everything I've given, years of loyalty and humiliation, to be cast aside like this." From the shadows, a figure approached Prince Andrew, his black coat merging with the night. Disgraced after the Epstein scandal, he too carried bitterness. "Sister-in-law," he said softly, voice calm but calculating. Camilla looked up, eyes sharp, seeing in him a potential ally. "Andrew," she said quietly, "we must talk. Tonight changes everything." Beneath the whispering trees, two outcasts began to conspire, each abandoned by history, now bound by vengeance. "I know you fear losing everything," Camilla said. "William wants you gone from the estates, from the family. But if we work together, I'll help protect your home and dignity. You'll not be cast away." Andrew nodded slowly, his expression darkening with ambition. A dangerous alliance was born. Camilla leaned closer, her voice low and cold. "We won't attack directly. We'll chip away at Kate's image. We'll target what makes her beloved, her morality and warmth, especially in America, where Diana's shadow still lingers." Her eyes glinted. "We'll start with a false itinerary. Make it look like Kate skipped a visit to Street Kentigern's children's hospital for a lavish party. We'll edit photos, change context, and let the press destroy her image for us. Then we'll plant whispers that she's demanding, cold, impossible to please. Not lies, just doubts." Andrew agreed. He would feed his old journalist friends, pushing the idea that William and Kate had grown power-hungry, a ruthless couple chasing the throne. Their plan was simple: protect themselves by poisoning the new queen's reputation. Under the silent moon, their pact was sealed with a handshake, a fragile alliance born of vengeance. "Let's make them pay," Camilla whispered. Her tears dried, leaving only fire in her heart. Days earlier, before Balmoral, London buzzed with politics and restlessness. Inside Clarence House, Charles sat alone in his study. The lamp cast a golden glow over his tired face. His butler, hurrying through preparations, placed a leather-bound notebook on his desk, believing it was the king's. Charles opened it absent-mindedly and froze. The handwriting was Camilla's. But the words were not of love. They were cold, calculating, and bitter. "I've waited too long in the shadows," it read. "Branded the destroyer. When he's gone, the legacy will be mine. William unyielding, Catherine too perfect. Let their image falter, and the crown will soften." Charles's heart sank. Page after page revealed a plan to weaken the media's faith in William and Kate through subtle rumors. No open attacks, just quiet destruction. He sat in silence, the pages shaking in his hands. Memories of Diana flooded his mind, her kindness, her pain, her lonely nights. A single tear slid down his cheek. "She never loved me," he whispered. "Only what I could give." That night, he made his decision. He called his lawyer. "We must change my will," he said firmly. "I will not let history repeat itself." At Balmoral, the diary now locked away, Charles stared into the misty valley. His heart was broken, but his duty was clear. Whatever storm awaited, the monarchy would endure. By Monday morning, the media world erupted. Headlines blazed across London and New York. New Queen Kate skips Children's Hospital visit for private London event. Edited photos and twisted captions spread like wildfire. Within hours, social media exploded. Debates, outrage, hashtags. One viral post read, "Where's Kate's compassion now?" Maybe the new queen is just another hollow crown. By Tuesday, the smear deepened. On The View, a nervous former staffer said, "Princess Kate's perfectionism is inspiring, but sometimes too much." The words were mild, but the poison ran deep. Soon, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube overflowed with clips labeling Kate as Cold Queen Kate. Then came the final blow. Prince Andrew appeared publicly for the first time in years. Asked about Kate's new title, he smiled faintly and said, "Titles don't guarantee dignity. Even the most adored can lose trust when ambition replaces love." He didn't name her, but the message was clear. Headlines screamed, "Prince Andrew strikes back questions Kate's worthiness as queen." Across the world, social media turned against her. On the Diana Forever fan page, one post went viral. "Kate is no Diana. She wears the crown but not the heart." And just like that, the storm had begun. The palace no longer feels warm. The sense of grace and humanity once carried by Diana has faded. Analysts say Kate now faces the hardest image crisis of her life. At Balmoral, tension hangs heavy like a storm about to burst. The royal walls, once symbols of strength, now tremble beneath invisible pressure. In the drawing room, William's anger erupts. His fist slams against the oak table, his voice shaking with fury. This is a conspiracy. Who would sink so low, dragging Kate through this filth? Kate stands nearby, calm only on the surface. Her face is pale, her eyes tired from sleepless nights. She clings to George, Charlotte, and Louis, as though they're her only anchor. Her whispers to them are soft, almost trembling. "I'm afraid, William," she says, voice breaking. "Afraid they'll believe it, that everything we've built will vanish in lies." From the corner, Charles watches in silence. His face is still, but inside, a quiet fire burns. He knows the truth about the diary, the deception, and the secret alliance between Camilla and Andrew. The machine of rumor has started to spin on its own, and no one can stop it now. The storm is coming, and with it, a reckoning that will change the monarchy forever. Summer 2025. Scotland is quiet, but inside Balmoral, King Charles refuses to sit idle. He has weathered many storms, divorce, scandal, illness, and knows when something doesn't add up. In his study, golden light filters through old windows, falling across his wooden desk scattered with papers. No gadgets, no spies, only Charles, his logic, and the weight of truth. His private secretary enters, calm but tense, holding a printed report. "Your Majesty," he begins, "we've mapped the rumor chain." The chart he lays down is damning 3 tabloid stories, one after another, from London to New York, all linked to the same editor, a woman once connected to a charity supported by Camilla. It gets worse. The American talk show that hosted the so-called former assistant had booked her a week before Kate ever cancelled her hospital visit. "The timing is too perfect to be chance. This is not random, sire," the secretary says, tracing red lines that connect names and networks like a spider's web. The butler, a loyal Scotsman with a sharp memory, adds another detail. The night that announcement broke, Prince Andrew was seen in the rose garden. That same garden where Camilla and Andrew once met in secret. Now it sits at the center of the puzzle. Further investigation reveals a pre-scheduled taxi, a press email, and a payment traced back to a social fund quietly linked to Camilla. The web is complete. Charles leans back, eyes narrowed, piecing it together like an old detective from one of his favorite novels. "No coincidence," he mutters. His voice is heavy with both anger and sorrow. This was planned. His heart aches. The woman he once called his safe harbor, Camilla, had turned her hand against the family, yet the crown must come first. His duty to protect William and Kate outweighs any personal pain. He stands by the window, the Highland wind screaming outside. Firelight flickers across his face, painting lines of resolve and grief. The library around him feels like a courtroom, its shelves towering like silent witnesses. When Andrew is summoned, the tone is formal. This is no family chat. The king waits behind his desk, flanked only by his secretary taking notes. Andrew enters, pale and nervous, once confident, now diminished. The air in the room is heavy. Charles's words cut like a knife. This monarchy can forgive mistakes, Andrew, but not betrayal. Tell me the truth, or I'll strip you of every remaining title and home you hold." Andrew's voice cracks. He glances down and sees a note on the desk, Camilla's handwriting, labeled, "Media plan, next week. Emphasize family tension around William." His facade shatters. "It was Camilla," he admits weakly. "She said she'd protect me if I helped. She just wanted to make Kate look less perfect. I never thought it would go this far." Charles closes his eyes. The pain is deep, not just as a king, but as a man betrayed by his own blood and the woman he trusted most. When Camilla is brought before him, the air in Balmoral turns cold. Charles's voice is steady but sharp. "I've read your diary, Camilla. Every word, every plan." Camilla flinches, her face drains of color. "You're retreating into ghosts," she says bitterly. "Back to Diana, back to the past. After all I've endured, after everything I gave up for you, this is how you repay me?" Voice rises, desperate. "I only tried to protect what was mine, to keep my dignity, my place, after years in Diana's shadow." But Charles doesn't waver. "No," he says quietly. "You turned kindness into a weapon. You used Andrew. You sowed doubt against Kate. All of this to rebuild your image at the cost of others. This is not love, Camilla. This is ambition." His tone is calm but final. "From this day forward, you will step away from public life. You will retire to Ray Mill House. That is my decision." Camilla stands frozen, her tears falling freely. Her silence is not peace, it is defeat. Princess Anne, watching from the doorway, says nothing. She knows this is the price of betrayal. Days later, Buckingham Palace releases a short statement. Due to health and personal reasons, Queen Camilla will temporarily withdraw from public duties. The truth remains buried. But inside the palace, everyone knows an era has ended. At Ray Mill House, Camilla stands beneath the soft rain. She removes her royal brooch and places it into a velvet box. The pain on her face is quiet, but real. Back at Balmoral, Kate gazes through the misty valley, the weight of her crown heavy on her shoulders. William wraps his arm around her. She tries to believe his whispers of comfort, but her heart still trembles. Charles stands alone on the balcony, the Highland wind swirling around him. The smoke from the dying hearth curls like ghosts in the dusk. His eyes carry both relief and sorrow, the cost of duty, paid in heartbreak. As summer 2025 fades, Westminster Abbey once again becomes the stage for royal history. Under its high Gothic arches, thousands gather to honor Diana, the Queen of Hearts. White roses cover the altar, and bells toll softly, echoing her name through time. King Charles steps to the podium, dressed in solemn black, his face marked by both loss and wisdom. Beside him stand William and Kate, now the new queen, a symbol of renewal and hope. Charles's voice echoes through the abbey. "Today, we remember Diana, the light who showed us compassion and humanity. She taught us that the crown must lead with love, not distance." He turns to Kate, his tone gentle but strong. "And today, we look forward. I present Catherine, our new queen, the living continuation of that legacy." Kate bows her head slightly, her eyes glistening. William squeezes her hand. The crown has survived the storm, but everyone knows it will never be the same again. The abbey falls silent, and then thunderous applause. It rolls through the vaulted hall like a wave of light. Across the world, new Queen Kate trends within minutes. Kate's eyes glimmer under the golden light. She turns to William and whispers softly, "I'll do my best to deserve this." He smiles back, his voice full of quiet pride. "You already have." The moment feels almost sacred, a bridge between the sorrow of the past and the hope of Ranch. A new beginning. But at the back of the abbey, where the light barely reaches, sits Queen Camilla. Dressed in plain black, she's been allowed to attend, but kept at a distance, a shadow on the edge of history. As Charles's voice fills the air, and Kate's name is celebrated, tears slide down Camilla's cheeks. Not from envy, but from regret. Regret for choices made, and the love she lost because of them. She remembers the long years she spent waiting in silence, the sacrifices she made to be beside him, and how it all crumbled through her own doing. The applause for Kate feels to her like a quiet judgment, gentle but final. When the ceremony ends, Camilla leaves through a side door, slipping past the flashing cameras. Some onlookers watch her with pity, others with cold silence. In that moment, she becomes part of the past, a woman undone by her ambition, fading into the margins of royal memory. That evening, at Ray Mill House, her quiet refuge in Wiltshire, soft rain falls across the countryside. Camilla stands beneath the roof's edge, her coat damp, her tears blending with the drizzle. In her hand, she holds the brooch she once wore with pride. Now, it feels like a reminder of everything she's lost. She looks out into the garden she once shared with Charles, the flowers heavy with rain, and whispers through trembling lips, "I've lost it all." Back at Balmoral, the royal family breathes in the quiet after the storm. The halls feel still again, not peaceful, but changed. Kate gazes out at the mist-covered valley. The title of Queen rests heavy on her shoulders, yet she carries it with quiet dignity. William stands beside her, wrapping an arm around her, steady and wordless. In the corridor beyond, King Charles stands alone by the stone railing. The Highland wind moves through his robe as the last embers of the fire fade behind him. His heart is a mix of sorrow and release. He has preserved the monarchy, but at a cost only he will ever truly know. Camilla's fall is tragic, but inevitable. A lesson carved into history that ambition, born from fear, can destroy even the love it seeks to protect. Charles's pain is the pain of a man who has given up his heart to save his legacy, and Kate, graceful amid scandal, stands as both fragile and unbreakable. Her rise comes not from power, but from compassion and quiet strength. The story ends with a question that lingers like an echo through the Abbey walls. Do you feel sorrow for Camilla, a woman lost to her own choices? Or vindication that justice was finally served? And as Kate steps forward into history, crowned with duty and light, do you see redemption? Or the beginning of another royal burden in disguise?